Hey there, welcome back to another episode of the Gabby Table with Shay. For those who are listening via the audio platform, welcome back. I know I've been away for a very long time, but I am back and better by God's grace. And for those who are watching on the video platforms, welcome once again. I really want to say thank you to those who subscribed, those who shared, and those who liked and commented on my last introductory video. All right. So today I have something very interesting and special for you. And just like you can tell already by the thumbnail and the title of this video, before we get right into what we have today, I would like to ask us a question. And the question is, who do you run to in times of trouble? When everything doesn't seem right, who do you run to? Now, our case study for today is going to be King Hezekiah. I know he's one of the popular kings in the Bible, and I'm sure that a lot of us know so much about him. And today we're going to be looking at how King Hezekiah can be portrayed in this particular episode. All right, so please pardon me, I'm going to be saying a lot of video episode because I'm recording both for audio platform and the video platform. All right, so the story of King Hezekiah can actually be seen in the book of Isaiah chapter 37. The preceding chapter 36 was basically the Assyrians threatening the people of Judah and blaspheming against God and saying, oh, how mighty do they think their God is, that they killed these people, they killed that people, and they brought people to ruin. So who are they, the people of Judah, that they think that they will be able to escape their wrath, that they think they'll be able to escape their judgment because they feel they have a God who they think is mightier than them. Little do the people of Assyria actually know that God answers prayer. Looking at the story of King Hezekiah, in chapter 37, when the people he sent, his delegates that he sent, brought back the news to him, the Bible says in chapter 37, verse 1, and I'm going to be reading it. It says, when King Hezekiah heard their report, he tore his clothes and put on burlap and went into the temple of the Lord. The Bible did not say he tore his clothes and began to weep. The Bible did not say he tore his clothes and began to run about helter-skelter looking for the help of man. And today, just like I asked in the beginning, who do you run to in time of trouble? Who do you turn to in time of trouble? Here is God and here is man. Who would you go for when you are faced with trouble? God or man? Now, in the case of King Hezekiah, we can see that he turned to God instantly. The Bible says when he heard the report, he tore his clothes and wore his burlap and decided to what? And decided to go to the temple of God. Because he understood that he cannot turn to man for this kind of victory he's expecting. He cannot turn to man for breakthrough. He cannot turn to man for blessings, but to God alone, who is able to take man out of trouble, who is able to fight the battles of man. All right, so King Hezekiah went to God in the place of prayer. And if we go further to verse 10 to 11, we would see that the Assyrians, they did not rest. That's to show you that the devil would not rest until he brings you down. They came again the second time with another letter, instilling fear in them, making them believe that they would kill them in the fight, that they would destroy them, and there is nothing their God can do. And the Bible said this time around that King Hezekiah took that letter before the temple of God. What is that report that the devil has given to you? What is that thing? What is that trouble that you are faced with? Have you taken it to the altar of God? A lot of times we are faced with problems and we feel like, oh, we can rely on that addiction, or we can rely on people to solve the problem. But the truth is, it is only God himself that we can rely on. It's only God himself that we ought to call upon in times of trouble. When Anna was barren, who did she call upon? God. And how did she do it? She took the problem to the altar of God. She took the problem to God, before God. When the woman with the issue of blood, when she was tired of going through surgery, medical attentions, and all of that. What did she do? She took herself, she brought the problem before God. Have you brought that problem before God today? Before you start complaining that, oh God, I am tired. When will this be over? I want this to end already. Have you brought that issue before God? Have you brought that problem before God? King Hezekiah understood how important it is to bring your problems before God, to turn to God first in the place of problem. Just the way you would ordinarily turn to your manual of your phone or of any item you get that you don't really understand how to operate it. You will turn to the manual, you will open the manual booklet, isn't it? So that is the same way we need to turn to God first when faced with trouble. That is the same way we need to come before God first when faced with trouble. And people in the Bible understood all of this, and that is why breakthrough came for them. The Bible also went on to say in the book of that same Isaiah chapter 37, verse 21, I would read. It says, Then Isaiah, son of Amos, sent this message to Hezekiah. This is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says. Because you prayed about King Sennacherib of Assyrian, the Lord has spoken this word against him. Because you prayed against. How many of you are faced with a problem, but yet you sit still with that problem? You are faced with challenges, but yet you find it difficult to open up your mouth and pray to God concerning it. You find it difficult to bring the problem before God. Before you even think of any solution, bring that problem before God first. Because it is in the place of taking the problem to God that you receive answers. It's in the place of taking the problem to God that God gives you victory. You cannot get victory by running to that addiction, by running to man for solution. You definitely can't get victory. Victory alone is found in God, who is victorious, who is victor himself. So, just like I asked in the beginning of this video, who do you turn to when in trouble? Who do you go to first when in trouble? King Hezekiah went straight to God. He took the problem before God before even complaining. And the second time, when their enemies threatened them again, he did the same thing. He took the letter, he took the evidence. He took the evidence of their threats before God. Before he even went on to pray, he reminded God of who he is. He reminded God of his capability, of what he can do. And then he poured out his mind to God. He was vulnerable with God. He told God how he felt. Because he knew that truly the people of Assyrians, they are wicked people. And they can win the battle if they so desire to win the battle. Verse 18 in that same chapter 37 says, It is true, Lord, that the king of Assyria has destroyed all these nations, and they have thrown the gods of these nations into the fire and burned them. But of course, the Assyrians could destroy them. So he told God that God is still truly powerful. They can truly do what they say they can do. That is him being vulnerable. He could have, gone to God without, opening up to God that God, truly, I am scared of these people because they are mightier than us, they are stronger than us. But he did not do that. He did not hide how he felt about that situation, but rather he took it to God. He went to God with that trouble. He went to God with how he thought, how he felt in that period, in that season. And verse 20 said, He said, Now, O Lord our God, rescue us from his power. Then all the kingdoms of the earth will know that you alone are God. He called to God for help. Have you called to God for help concerning that situation? Concerning that thing that has been giving sleepless nights? Have you called to God for help? Do you know that man cannot help? But it is God that empowers man to help. Without going before God concerning that problem, God will not just out of the blues just do it. Yes, he knows what we want, but he also wants us to come before him. That's why he said, ask and shall be given. That's why he said, seek and you shall find. That's why he said, knock and the door shall be opened unto you. If it was not necessary to do all of these things, he would not say it. but because it is important, because it is significant if we want that victory, because it is very powerful to ask, because it is very powerful to seek, because it is very powerful to knock. That is why he said all of the things in his word. So again, I ask you, who do you turn to for help when in trouble? Who do you turn to when you're in trouble? Do you take those problems to God, or you take the problems first to man? God and man. That's where they are. And you have to choose wisely. And as a Christian, it is expected that you choose God first above every other thing, above every circumstance, above every challenge. You choose God first. That will be all for today. I do hope this actually blessed you as much as it blessed me as I'm speaking about it, because it reminds me that just like when you fall as a child, you hit your leg against a stone as a child, and you call out to your father or mother for help, and immediately they run to you to lift you up and to help you. If you probably sustained an injury from the fall, they would definitely see that they treat the wound and that you are all right. That's the same thing with Christ. When we fall, he expects that we call out to him for help. We show him the problem just like we will show our parents the wound on our leg or our knee. We show him the problem. We expose the problem to him. We become vulnerable to him. And just like our parents, he will never leave us stranded. Even more than our parents, because it gets to a point where they might feel like, oh, you're getting to trouble them a lot. But God will never feel that way. He will never feel like you're troubling him. Tell him every single details of your life. Yes, he knew you before you were even conceived in your mother's womb. But you also need to be vulnerable with him. Share your concerns, share your problems with God before man. Because man will come and go, but God is the same yesterday, today, and he will be forever. All right. So if this really blessed you and touched you one way or the other, please do make sure you share the link to this video, you subscribe, and comment your take-home note from this episode. All right, guys, have a lovely day ahead or night or whatever time you're watching this. Just make sure that you continue to bask in the awesomeness of God and continue to bask in the mightiness of God. All right, that'll be all for today, guys. Till I come your way next time. My name is Oliver Sheffield Kadri, the host of the Capital Podcast. Bye.